Well, what have we seen? We've seen that multitasking is very common. It's definitely on the rise. We see it with the proliferation of devices. We see it with some of the work that e-consultancy has done for our 2 committees, as well as in this study. We see that many people are performing activities that are related to what they're watching on TV, but far more are doing things that are unrelated. And as I'm sure you can all attest to, this probably is an indicator of how time-starved people are, or if you look at some of the other data and some of the other quotes, it may very well be an indicator of how in love everyone is with their devices, to the point where the devices are almost becoming, in a very McLuhan kind of metaphor, the extension of yourself. And the third thing that we have seen in this study is that in spite of all the activity, our respondents believe they are paying attention to TV. However, note that roughly 1/3 to 1/2 of attention is probably up for grabs, and that's what they're cognizant of and what they tell us. So what does it mean for advertising and the future of advertising in this multi-device, multitasking world? Media multitasking and people with screens are on the rise, we've said that. Multitasking with more screens is creating more new, different, and interesting opportunities to reach consumers. And we kind of heard that in the conversation around Punch, that we have to still create these things. We know they're out there, and we know the data supports it. Particularly true for advertising, as consumers are going to engage with ads on both primary and secondary screens, tertiary screens, depending on how many devices they're playing with at the time. But, and here's where everybody has to start really thinking about how to do this right and what the future holds. The creative has to fit the screen. And moreover, it has to fit the opportunity that the multitasking experience is presenting. One size, one format does not fit all. And I think we've all learned from the experiences in the early days of digital video where everyone said, okay, let's slap TV commercials on the internet. So we know that doesn't work, but in this kind of a world, it will be even more important to make the creative fit and the opportunity fit. So certain kinds of shows elicit simultaneous second screen activities that are endemic to programming, and others do just the opposite. We have to understand viewer motivation, mindset, while they're actively engaged in simultaneous multi-screen viewing, and that's really important to creating the advertising that works effectively in this kind of environment. The line between content and advertising, as the media industry has traditionally understood it, will continue to blur. And advertisers and programmers need to stay in touch with audiences in different ways than we've known. So it's going to be a multi-dimensional approach to understanding audiences and consumers. Know the screens, know the people, know their mindsets and motivations, know the way they use their time and their brain resources. And thank you. Thank you, Bruce.